Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. It's so crazy to me that just in last week's video, I was out here filming, practically freezing. It was rainy and cold and dark, and today it's sunny and 75 degrees, which is so weird. I feel like I should be in shorts right now. I've just been like sweating all day out here, but I'm not going to complain. I will take this one warm day and take advantage of it. I figured today would actually be the perfect day to plant my garlic. It's just been really cold lately for the most part, so I didn't want to come out here and plant this garlic even though I got the bed ready. But I think today is the day. You know, the weather was a sign that I could just get it done today, and then we have a freeze coming actually later in the week. It's just, this weather is so weird, but we're gonna get the garlic in, and that way it'll get the freeze, it'll get some warm weather and be set up, because in Texas, you actually want to get your garlic in before a freeze. You want the freeze to come in, and then you want the garlic to keep growing. So the freeze shouldn't kill it, but it's going to sort of help it establish itself. It helps the bulbs grow. There's a science behind it. I know there is, and I know it. I'm just blanking right now because my brain is blanking because this day is so weird. So I think today is the perfect day to get the garlic in. Technically, I should have gotten it in here a couple weeks ago, but I don't think it's going to affect it too much in the long run. It's really early December, so I think it's fine. I think it's gonna be fine. And I think that with the one mystery garlic in here, if you saw the sweet potato video, I'll just kind of work around that. I'm not gonna know if that one's different from the two that I got. So I did get my labels from last year. I still had them around. I'm gonna let Nutmeg run around with his sister who is coming over to say hi. So we'll see if she's into garlic. I forgot I got a different variety. I gotta get a new label out. I got two varieties. Last year I ordered a little bit too much and some of it went bad toward the end of the season, like a month ago. So I figured this year I'm not gonna order as much. I just really had too much. And if you saw last year's video, I had to plant it in lots of different places because I had way more than this bed could fit. So I got one that I got last year. I got a 1/4 pound. This is the Alio Blanco from Filaree Garlic Farm. I really like this one. I also really like their website because they have a really good graphic that'll tell you what is the best southern growing, warm climate, warm winter garlic. And this one just delivered on all fronts last year, and I got really good bulbs out of it, really good cloves. So I decided to go with that one again. I did have others that just didn't do as well. I think I got the Mexican Pearl last year and it did terribly. It was the worst out of all my garlics because I think our spring got a little bit too wet. And I did have to actually pull all of my garlic early because of that, but almost all of those rotted. So I decided to go with a different one this year. This is the Asian Tempest garlic. I also got a 1/4 pound of that. So I got a total of a 1/2 pound. I feel like that's going to be enough. I don't have the best storage system for garlic long term. If I had it, I don't think as much of my garlic would have gone bad at the end of this summer / fall. I don't know, it felt like summer weather up until a few weeks ago, but I just don't have that. I don't have that kind of space. I don't have a cool, dry place to put everything in my house or in my garage because our garage heats up quite a lot in the summer. So, and this is not a permanent house, so I'm not gonna go build some sort of cellar thing on less than a 1/4 acre in a pretty like cookie cutter neighborhood. So I think a 1/2 pound will do. I'm really excited to try out this new variety, and I'm really happy to get the Alio Blanco again. I did also really like the Incellum Red. That's what I thought I ordered for some reason. I did really like it. Maybe they didn't have it in small quantities and I just didn't want to order as much this year. I think this will still produce enough that it'll provide for me for a few months. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. So let's get to it. Let's get some garlic going. Nutmeg is just hanging out in the bed ready to help. So let's get to it. All right, quality inspection test from Nutmeg. What do we think, buddy? You just want to watch your sister run away? I don't know, do we approve? Maybe. I'm back and I've made the correct labels for the garlic that I have. The first thing I'm going to do is separate out some of these cloves. I'll start with the Asian Tempest. And I want to identify, obviously, the best cloves first. So they're gonna be the biggest, the healthiest. I don't think there's going to be anything rotten or whatever. Oh, these are really big. Maybe? Or maybe there's smaller ones in there? I'll have to see how much they break up. I was not expecting it to be only a couple of cloves per. Maybe that's why I got 3. I don't know. I don't want to try breaking them and then it doesn't break. But these are huge. They look like they want to break up more, but also that they don't at the same time, if that makes sense. I don't want to take the wrappers off either because that's not going to be helpful for the development of the garlic. So, ooh, I don't quite know. I think that these are just giant cloves. Okay. Well, if I had known that, I might have ordered a little bit more garlic, but I think it'll still be okay because the Alio Blanco have much smaller cloves, so I'll just be able to fit a lot more of that into the raised bed. Yes, Safi? Hello? Yeah, these just feel like it's one big clove in here. So I'll just go and plant all of these first. I obviously don't have as many as I thought. Maybe I'll try and open one up and see. But we'll go ahead and plant these and then move on to the Alio Blanco. So I've decided to make these the outermost row of the raised bed. I feel like I could probably just move these anywhere since there's such a small amount. I tried looking into one of them and they don't break up anymore. They're really big cloves, so we'll see how this turns out. I'm a little worried that maybe now I didn't get enough garlic. Hey, you better not mess up those holes for the garlic, Missy. You better not mess that up. Yeah, it's okay. So Safi's gonna help. We're gonna put the cloves in one by one. And there is a trick I've seen circulating around the internet lately where you have them all facing the same way. This way the leaves, when they grow, they don't touch. And that's really good because there are some garlic diseases like rust that can and some fungal issues that can arise when there's not enough airflow in between. So we'll try that this year. I'll try to remember to put everything the same way that I put these. I probably actually won't bury everything until I've got this entire bed laid out. I've got my label in there so that I'll remember that this row is different from the rest. Safi's helping. You gonna dig some holes? Oh, she's off. All right, so I will dig some holes for the rest of this, plant the rest of the garlic. This is all gonna be the Alio Blanco, and then we'll go from there. So there was a lot better of, I guess, variety and selection with the Alio Blanco. Not to say that it's bad that the Asian Tempest cloves were so big. I just didn't realize they were so big that there was only 2 per bulb. Or 2 per bulb. So I think we'll be fine. I think I'll be able to easily fill up this bed. And I wanted to point out some clove selection before I go ahead and fill this up, because there are some cloves that are just really not worth using, some that are better than others, and especially if you have a lot of garlic or more than you would need, it's good to be selective and to only choose the best garlic. So you want to make sure that you keep the wrapper on the clove as much as possible so that it looks all protected. So these are the ideal size of cloves for the Alio Blanco variety. These were some of the biggest ones that I saw on the plant, so I will be using these. I also wanted to point out that there are going to be some, if you buy seed garlic like this, that are already sprouted. Now this one, I did accidentally rip off some of the protective paper layer. I think it'll still be okay, but if they are already sprouted, that is a plus. I know it's very controversial to cook with sprouted garlic. I still like the flavor. My husband hates it, so it's gonna be a good thing for planting, at least. That is the non-controversial part about that. And finally, I wanted to show off some cloves that are just not worth your time. So that would be the smallest cloves out of the bulb. I've got a couple here that I picked out that are just so small. These are typically the innermost cloves of a bulb of garlic. They just haven't been able to grow out as much as the farther out cloves. So there's gonna be a really big discrepancy in size. Now the bigger cloves are going to create the biggest cloves on the new bulb of garlic. This one, if I planted this, would probably stay really small. All the new cloves on it would be small, and it just wouldn't be worth the time and energy when I could plant these first. So I'm gonna plant from smallest to, I'm going to plant from largest to smallest and leave out cloves like this until I fill out this entire bed. I had to create an extra row, but I did get them all in. I have 35 total garlic planted in here. Would have been 36 if not for that one, but that's okay. I am feeling pretty good about it. This is what's left of the ones that I thought were big enough to plant. I guess that's one more row. I could have crammed another row in here possibly, but if I really want to, I could just plant them elsewhere like I did last year. I mean, one row isn't going to inhibit my gardening in any way for the spring, so I might do that if I find a spot that I like. But all that's left to do is cover these up. You can see just how big the Asian tempest garlic is compared to the Alio Blanco. It's crazy. So that'll be a good experiment to see how that turns out for the year versus the other variety. I put a label on that and then 2 labels for the rest of them. So I think it looks pretty good. This was pretty quick. Last year, I feel like I took forever to do this, but this year it's going by really quickly, really easily. So I think having less garlic in this space is gonna end up being the move. So I'll get all of this covered up and we'll wrap things up here. I ended up putting the garlic in this bed right next to my garlic bed. I feel like that would just be the easiest. Safi and I are going to cover up this garlic and then we will be finished. And all there's left to do is wait until about April or May, and it'll be time for the garlic to be harvested before we know it. So for some final notes about the garlic, I like to bury it pretty shallow just because they need to, when they sprout, to get to the surface pretty quickly, maybe an inch and a half deep. I don't really measure it, but I make sure that it's covered pretty shallow and evenly so that when the garlic comes up, it has a pretty easy time getting to the surface. As far as these 2 small pieces of garlic go, you can just eat them. It's like you just ordered yourself garlic from the grocery store. Expensive garlic from the grocery store, but hey, all of that garlic is gonna pay off. So this is just a little bonus basically. And then finally, for the garlic scraps, I have them on here right now. There are so many things you can do with them. You can just put them with the garlic that you're planting. They'll decompose like compost. If you've got a compost pile, you can throw them in there, or you can use them to make a veggie or chicken broth, any kind of bone broth really. I did that a lot when I lived in apartments. Now it's pretty easy for me to just compost, so I mostly do that. Though I would like to get back into making broths. I used to do that pretty much weekly, but it's just been a little too convenient to throw things in the compost pile since we moved into this house. So that's just what I've been doing personally. I did leave some of the paper wrappers in the bed just because I'm not gonna go through and pick up all of them. They'll turn into compost eventually. The rest will probably just compost as well. And I'll enjoy the others as a snack. It's like a taste of what's to come in the spring when you harvest that garlic. But that is it for our video today. Hopefully Saffron is not digging up all of the garlic I just planted. We're gonna have to check in with her on that in a minute. If you like this video, make sure to give Nutmeg and I here a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. What's going on over here? Why are we digging into the dirt? We already did that. We had to cover it back up. Your brother is judging you. Nutmeg would not dig holes into the dirt. Just you. Just you, silly girl.